I'm KHACHI. I have a design build firm in Oakville. We do a lot of renovations, we do a lot of design, we do a lot of decorating, basically A to Z. And 79 Raymar Place started out as my house, and it became, well, it started out as a modest renovation and became a huge renovation shortly after we purchased it, just because we realized there's a lot of problems with this house. Although it was only 23 years old, there's a lot of problems that resulted from poor construction to begin with. So there's no choice. It kind of forced our hands to gut the house, get it right down to the framing, and rebuild it from ground up. The house is located almost in the heart of downtown Oakville. It's literally a few minutes walk from downtown. This whole area that was subdivided was the old Eaton estate. So there's a certain kind of charm that goes with that. There's a kind of look that goes with that. And when it came to redesigning the outside, which started out as a gray stucco box, I wanted it to have a little bit of that old world charm, but I wanted a little bit of a contemporary flair to it. So I started designing the outside with that in mind. Everything from the landscape to the materials we used on the outside, it had to suit the neighborhood. I didn't want it to stand out like a sore thumb, but I wanted it to be a gem in the area. When it comes to the landscaping, the backyard is as important as the front. The main concept with this house, starting from the outside right to the inside, was I wanted to create a space where people don't have to be a slave to their property. You don't have to be here maintaining it all day long, fixing it, things wearing out. So everything had to have longevity and low maintenance to it. Not a lot of grass cutting, but beautiful gardens in the front, very inviting. When you get to the backyard, it's all about extending that family space right to the outside. So there's a beautiful sitting area, there's a beautiful dining area that complements the barbecue area beside it. There's a sitting area off the dining room, and also there's a reflecting pool that just adds a little bit of background noise to drown out any surrounding noises that are there around. And then you can really enjoy that backyard with family and friends. Lock the doors when you want to and be able to walk downtown. So you don't have to be a slave to your home and always working on it. When you walk into the house, what's most important is continuity. So there's a lot of flow through this house. When you first walk in, the first thing I did is I took that front hall closet out of there. I wanted to make it grand. And I put the front hall closet just a few steps down on the first flight of steps. It's not too far away, but it opens up the hallway. I opened up all the staircases, so we've got that open concept all the way throughout. You can kind of see right through them. You feel the openness of the house, but the rooms are portioned off nicely. First room that you come up against is the living room. Big high ceilings, very grand, very posh. You've got a balcony open from the dining room to the living room. It's very elegant, and I love that look. So we had to carry that feel. We had to make sure that elegance was there. In that room, I took inspiration from a piece of glass I found in New York. The Madonna glass. It's a very classic pattern. I took that pattern and we had plaster moldings made for the ceiling. So that pattern in the ceiling is from that glass. We used that glass elsewhere in the house actually, and then we repeated that pattern subtly in the dining room. So there's subtle tie-ins throughout the house. There's no disconnect, there's no mismatch. There's subtle tie-ins that move you from room to room. So when you come up to the first level, on here we've got the dining room, we've got the kitchen family room concept, which to me is the heart of the house, most important. We also had a laundry room up here, which served as a laundry room and a mudroom. So to me, that's just, cluttered space. It's a space that you demand a lot out of, and you really should split them up. And I did. I took that room and made it a mudroom. That's the connection for the homeowners from the outside to the inside. That's where we put a dog wash. That's where we put all the closet space for the homeowners. That's where we put storage. The dog wash is not just for dogs. It's for cleaning the house, filling a bucket. The kids' dirty hockey equipment can fall in there and wash. So there's a lot of good purpose to it. The living room, or the family room I should say, and the kitchen, which is where we're standing right now, that's where you want to live, and that's where the connection is to the outside, and that's where it really has to be practical. So we designed a kitchen that kind of answers all those problems and questions you have with the kitchen. I look at every room and I go, how can I make it that much better? And that's what we did here. Beyond aesthetics, it's got a lot of practicality to it. As with any project, there's got to be a lot of attention to detail, because detail makes any living space. Detail makes it comfortable to live in, and the details in the kitchen are things that you normally think about in day-to-day life, and you go, boy, I wish this wasn't here, or I wish this was like that. Plugs on an island, I hate to see them. So I thought, why do they have to be visible? We cover them up. It's a simple solution. The recycling compost bin that's always underneath the kitchen sink, always a nuisance. So we incorporate it into the countertop. You simply lift the top, put your cuttings in there and close it down, and when you're ready to take it out, you take it out to the garage. All the components, meaning the dishwasher, are hidden, paneled. The fridges are paneled. The detail on the fridges, didn't want to just put regular panels. I wanted to make them look a little more like cabinetry. So we've got the look of drawers underneath. We've got the look of doors on top. No grills above, just nice doors that lift up. So again, it just takes it up a notch. The hardware inside, to me, is one of the most important things in a kitchen. Everybody thinks about the aesthetics on the outside, but the aesthetics, in fact, is the one element that you get used to. The hardware and the functionality is the one element that starts to wear on you after time. So when you open these drawers, you see how well they function. You see how well they close. You see the quality on the inside. Those are all important things. The garbage drawer itself is a servo drive unit. So when your hands are dirty and you're cutting up food, you don't have to touch the drawer knob or the door handle. You simply touch it with your knee and it opens by itself, and then you close it again. So these are little thoughts that go into all the details of things that are bothersome about a space like a kitchen. When you get into the backsplash, that's an element again where cleaning comes into play, aesthetics comes into play. Under cabinet lighting, traditionally everybody resorts to puck lights, and puck lights create hot spots on the countertop. Those are bright areas and dark areas, and it's not practical lighting. So we did a light panel underneath, and it basically lights up the entire countertop evenly. And then lighting, as we're on that topic, is so important in any space because it sets the mood, it sets the effectiveness of the space, it affects how you use it, and there's a lot of thought that went into the lighting design for the entire house. Right next to the kitchen is the family room. Now that used to be a sunken family room, so it split the room up. There was a post in the middle. It just was all divided. I opened it all up. We replaced the beam that goes across the entire space here, widened the skylights, doubled them up, made them operating, and we raised the floor in the family room. So you've got this continuous floor that makes this one large room. Now we've got a TV at that side, a beautiful fireplace with some plaster molding detail up top, and then you've got some cabinets on either side. We actually changed the configuration of windows in here just to make it more symmetric. Now you've got a room that flows. We tied the eating table into the kitchen island, so you've got some connection there. There's no need for additional furniture, but it's a nice cozy space. The details, again, connect. Going in keeping with the concept of low maintenance, all the countertops are quartz. The countertop in the kitchen is a Cambria Quartz. Very little maintenance with this product, but it's gorgeous. It was designed to replicate Calcutta, which is a beautiful marble, and we used Calcutta in the family room fireplace in conjunction with Emperador Dark. Two beautiful marbles. We boarded them, did some details around, so it gives a very classic look there. I took some inspiration from that, and in the kitchen on the backsplash, we used the Cambria material, and then we accented it with Emperador Dark. So there's subtle tie-ins. This countertop here, actually the Cambria countertop, I helped develop the color with Cambria specifically to match Calcutta, and this is the first one in actually the whole world that's in existence right now. More to follow, but this is the first house that gets it. So in wrapping up these two spaces, living room and kitchen, some of the other details are the vacuum sweep and the kick plate that you just kind of kick it open, and it's easy to clean up garbage here. There's audio controls throughout the house. It's all wireless. You have access to all your music. You have access to all your movies through the TV. We've got a system here that's run on a house server, and everything is accessible through the television and different points throughout the house. You've got music, you've got videos, you've got all your slideshows that you can watch, you've got connection to friends through your TV. That all answers to the whole setup of being connected with family and friends, easy to use. We don't want a system that's complicated, and all this really extends throughout the entire house, in here, into the backyard, and all the other spaces as well. The rest of the main floor here consists of a beautiful dining room, gorgeous space. Again, took a little bit of inspiration from the living room, put some wallpaper panels into the plaster molding on the walls, put a beautiful color that's tone on the wall. Again, that color being a Benjamin Moore color from a new fan deck that's not even on the market yet. It's a gorgeous color, and it really sets the tone in that room. The ceiling detail reflects a little bit of the detail that's in the living room, but is enhanced a little bit bit further. So a little bit more ornate, a little more detail. Everything right down to the light fixtures were selected with an ultimate design in mind. In that space, because you've got that amount of detail, I didn't want speaker grills. So the speakers in the dining room are hidden. They're hidden speakers. They're behind the drywall. You don't even see them, but the sound emanates from the drywall. And it's beautiful sound, and it just surrounds you, but you can't see where it's coming from. So it doesn't really affect the overall design of the room in any way. There is a thermostat in that space, and there's a reason for that. There's 3 thermostats throughout the house. I zone the house into 3 zones. The guest areas being the dining room, the living room, the wine cellar area downstairs. Those are all run off one thermostat. The other areas, the kitchen, family room, all the areas that the family lives in throughout the day, they're run off another thermostat. And then you've got your sleeping quarters, which are run off a 3rd thermostat. You can control these areas separately. At night, there's no need to cool the entire house when all you need to do is cool the sleeping areas. So the other thought process in here was to create a house that enables people to manage their energy consumption, not necessarily give people more energy to use by throwing solar panels on the wall, but really to help people manage their consumption. And that's one of the ways that we did it in that zoning this house into 3 different zones to help you use that energy wisely. The other space is the powder room, which as small as that space is, it's a gorgeous little room, and there's a lot that can happen in a small room like that. There's a lot of detail. It's a wonderful wallpaper. It's a beautiful striped wallpaper that's got a bit of glitter to it. There's a bit of glamour to it. I designed the vanity specifically for this house. I love the design of that vanity. And then we inlaid a mother of pearl tile into the doors. Turned out gorgeous. I love it. That accent is picked up in some of the accessories. And then the faucetry in there being a Brizo faucet, gorgeous. That really was the inspiration for the room for me, was that faucet, and that's where I started. Sometimes I pick things in a room that inspire me and I design around them. Everything else in there is all about simplicity and elegance. The hardware, the accessories, and even right down to the toilet. When you look at the toilet, it's not just a toilet. When you look around it, there's a receptacle right behind it. There's a receptacle behind every toilet. It gives people the option for accessories down the line. If you want or need a washlet seat, it's easy to accommodate now. You can plug it in. There's no wiring to do. When you look at the valve cover for the toilet, it's a cover. It's not a valve exposed. It's a nice cover that slides over top and finishes it up nicely. To me, all the details are where it's at. And when you look in any room like that, you can kind of look and go nice, or you can look carefully and notice all the details and really appreciate what's gone into it. The next level up takes you into the living quarters. Now, the first room you hit is a guest room slash home office, and I specifically designed it as that. It's got beautiful glass doors that you enter through. Above is a transom that replicates the transom over the window at the front of the house. So again, a little bit of continuity and design there. As you walk in, you've got tremendous high ceilings, beautiful plaster moldings on top, a little bit of step detail with the drywall. Again, those finer details really pull it together. There's cabinetry that goes from floor to ceiling in that space, and there's 2 reasons for that. One, we wanted to incorporate some closet space in case it's used as a bedroom. But also, if it's used as a home office, you've got a desk there, you've got lots of storage, and it becomes a real valuable space to a house. There's a lot of detail in there. That's where the main computer is to the house. There's a bulletin board in behind. And all that cabinetry, the second purpose for it, well, the first was storage, second purpose was to hide the roof detail. There was a break in the roof line there, and it affected the wall in that space. And to hide that, I designed that cabinetry. You don't feel it now. Some of the cabinetry is full depth, some is a little bit shallower, but it gives you a nice wall of cabinetry. Takes your eye right to the ceiling. You focus on that beautiful light fixture above, and it's a great space, and it's accessible right to the front hall here, to the main level. So it's a great central area as a home office. Right beside that is the entrance to the master suite. Now, it truly is a master suite because it takes up the whole side of the house. You've got your bedroom areas, but then you've got another level to it. And I love the way it's laid out. In that room, there were some windows that faced the side of the house, looking onto the neighbor's house. Not appealing, I got rid of them. I wanted to create a library feel in there. You've got this wall of cabinetry now that goes floor to ceiling. Really sets a beautiful backdrop as you walk in. There's a ladder that rolls around so you can reach some of the higher cabinets cabinets, and that is a ton of storage. And let's call that his closets. You know, you've got one person's closet space there, and the rest of the room lays out based on furniture layout, and that's really important. Every room was thought out for furniture layout before we started construction, and that's something that most people don't plan ahead on, and then they hit a wall when it comes to furnishing. So we thought about where the bed was going to go, where the side tables were going to go, thought about the console, the chair, and then came the thought of where's the TV going to go in here. Didn't want a TV in front of the window, didn't want it visible all the time, so I thought we're going to put a lift in, have it drop out of the dormer. We have a little bit of room there, and it's accessible when you need it, and when you don't, it tucks away and it's out of the way. So you've got a nice clean room. What's nice about this room is when you wake up in the morning, if one person needs to get up and get ready, they go up a small flight of stairs and they get into the ensuite area. So you've got your master ensuite and you've got your second closet space. Second closet space is a generous sized walk-in closet, nicely done inside, lots of cabinetry. And we took some room from the attic there, and we raised the ceiling an added foot or so. And that gives us a little bit more storage from some boxes and things on top of the cabinetry. There is an access point to the attic right there, and I specifically wanted it there because I don't like it when they put it in small closets. If you got to go up there for service, you got to empty out a closet, crawl up there, step on things. So put it right in the center. Nice, accessible. Right beside it is a receptacle. If somebody needs to get tools up there or an extension cord, they plug in there. They don't need to run extension cords all over the house. And again, goes back to all the details and thinking of how one uses a house. A lot of pocket doors, so into that space is a pocket door. Into the space beside it, which is the ensuite, is another pocket door. And these pocket doors, as you roll them open, you see how smooth they function. They roll nicely, and when they get to the end, they line up nicely and they bounce back without any sound at all. Again, detail, because all those little things are what drive me nuts about any house. When you look inside the track, it's all finished. It's beautiful on the outside and on the inside. As you walk into the master ensuite, I wanted something very classic. That whole bathroom is Bianco Carrera marble. We took inspiration from a tile I found in Chicago. I love the pattern of that tile, and we used it as an accent on the floor. We used it as an, actually more than an accent in the shower. It literally covers the wall halfway up. The other inspiration in that room came from the new design, suite design that Hans Grohe did with their first female designer, Patricia Urquiola, designed a suite, and that bathtub is one of the pieces in that suite. Same with all the faucets. That was the second inspiration point in that bathroom. So everything in that bathroom was designed based on the tile and the bathroom suite. Second to that is the amount of light in there, the lighting, the vanities, furniture style with lots of storage. The mirrors, again, nicely framed mirrors, a little more classic, a little more elegant, nice wall sconces, nice classic feel to that whole space. And what I did is I separated that area from the private area, which is where the toilet and the shower are. And that's a brilliant space as well. I love how that has turned out, because you've got your toilet there, you lock the door, you've got your privacy, you've got two beautiful wall sconces, you've got a skylight that vents in there, and then you've got a generous shower. When you look at that shower, you got to look at all the detail. There is a mirror right in there, a shaving mirror, but when you turn on the TV is visible through that mirror. So you've got a TV inside your shower, and you've got waterproof speakers above. So whether you want to not miss a beat with regards to the morning show, or you just want to listen to music in there, you have that option. We've got a steam bath in there, you've got a rain head, you've got an adjustable hand shower, and you've got a beautiful bench. Everything in there is heated from the floor to the bench. There's new heat, in-floor heating throughout in the whole house pretty much. So you've got the mudroom is heated, the dog wash is heated, the master ensuite is heated, the shower is heated, the bench is heated. That really, to me, is not a luxury anymore. It's just something that people were accustomed to. We want those finer things in life, so it's a given. It shouldn't be an extra. Other details are in the floor. When you look at the floor, it's not a complicated slope into a center drain. You've got one linear drain. It slopes very slightly one way, so it gives you a nice finish, and all the water stays outside away from the outside of the shower. So it stays in the shower, the linear drain captures everything and keeps it all in there. All the jamb detail around the door to the bathroom is marble on the inside, so it's waterproof. You have to think about that. What happens in a wet area like that? Water gets around, so you got to think of those elements like wood and drywall in those spaces. And speaking of water, every wet area in the house was waterproofed with state-of-the-art, latest technology that we use. I mean, we've been using this stuff for the last 6-7 years to do bathrooms, so everything is waterproof with Schluter Curdy membrane. So it's a membrane that goes behind the tile that literally prevents any moisture from going beyond there. So there's no chance of these showers leaking. There's no chance of mold growth. There's no chance of mildew. It's just with the problems that we started with this house, we acquired from the last builder. That was really important to make sure that will never be an issue for anybody down the line. As you walk out of the ensuite space, that's the top floor that you're in. You walk into the rest of the bedroom areas. Now, those areas are bedrooms, also laundry room and another bathroom. So let's start with the laundry room. The laundry room, again, a nice pocket door that functions well, goes out of the way, space saving, is a modestly sized space, but how much room do you need? It's more the way it's designed and makes it functional. It could be twice as big and not as functional. There's a lot of cabinetry for storage. There's a beautiful Kohler farmer's sink, farmer's style cast iron sink in there. Gives you great access for washing things, rinsing things. Nice, gorgeous faucet in there. Backsplash is all Cambria Quartz, so low maintenance. The countertops, Cambria Quartz. And then you've got your washer and dryer that again are covered with more Cambria Quartz. Some really nice, interesting lighting there. Looks good and gives you functional light as well. A couple of features in there. The floor is entirely waterproof. It's an Armstrong Marmoleum product. It's a sheet floor, but it's been waterproof right to the wall and up the wall. I had to think about the fact that the laundry room is on the top level of this house. What were to happen if there's ever a leak? So started putting checkpoints in place to make sure that will never become an issue. We raise the floor slightly as it comes to the door, so any water that may get in there will never get out the door and go down the drain that's in there. In the event that someone leaves something on the floor and it might cover the drain, the water will come up and go outside. Well, I installed a system on the washing machine that monitors the energy usage, the electricity usage of the machine. If the machine's not using electricity, it won't supply water to it. If it's using electricity, that means it's on and it supplies water to it. So there's no chance that if the machine's off and the pipe bursts, the water will get anywhere. In the event that the machine's running and it's using electricity and there's water going to it, that the pipe breaks, there's a sensor on the ground that if it senses water, it shuts the water off. So now there's no chance that you can have a flood if you come home from a holidays, or if you're gone for the day and you come back to a flood and you got all these problems. So I really thought about those elements. The other element is you're at the top floor of the house, and one of my pet peeves is every time you go to open a sink or a faucet or a shower, you got to wait 2-3 minutes before hot water makes its way all the way up there and you have hot water. So that comes into the picture of energy conservation or helping people manage their conservation. I installed a motion sensor in every bathroom and any place that has water. So the laundry room is one of those places. There's a motion sensor on the ceiling. As you walk in, it turns on a recirculating pump and starts circulating hot water throughout the house. By the time you get to the sink or you turn on your washing machine, hot water's already there, so it's instant. Whether you're going to take a shower, whether you're doing laundry, you'll have hot water right there and then you don't have to wait for it. As you move further, the next room over is the main bathroom, and that services the other 3 bedrooms that we have. That bathroom was inspired by 2 things again. The Pura Vida faucet from Hans Grohe, one of my favorite faucets, gorgeous faucet. That room was truly inspired by that faucet. We also took a little inspiration from that Madonna glass that we found in New York, and we used that in there as an accent. That was purely to bring in a little bit of the classic element in the house and also to bring in a hit of color in there. The rest of the room is all white. The vanity's white, the countertops, white Cambria Quartz. The tub surround, white glass tiles. The detail around the tub is all white Cambria Quartz, and it's all about texture. in that room, it's all about the different textures that you see and you feel. So it's all a white room, but it's got so much character. We've got LED lights inside the shower. We've got pot lights outside. We've got lighting on the mirrors themselves, around the mirrors. So you've got good lighting that comes right at you from the front. You've got lighting above. You've got lighting all over. There's even a strip light on the panel right beside the toilet that lights up the toilet space. We had some added space in the back. We moved the toilet forward, created some added storage in behind the toilet, because you never can have enough storage in a house like this. And that's another thing that people overlook a lot, is storage. You need storage. So we made sure that we incorporated storage in a lot of places. As you look at the details in that room, some of the details that you have to notice is the placement of the receptacles, where they're located. Nothing interferes with anything. There's not a space where the receptacle's there and someone had to cut a piece of trim around it, because every detail was thought out so that they don't interfere and conflict with each other. As you come out of the pocket door in that space, the last two rooms in that area are the 2 bedrooms. Again, 2 generously sized bedrooms. You've got general lighting, pot lights. I didn't want to go with hanging pendants, because that really fixes you as to where you put a bed. The problem there is you might have a 10-year-old, you might have an 18-year-old, and you're going to design the room differently for either of them. So it gives you a lot of opportunity to design the room the way that you want. We opened up the dormers, made them higher. In the dormers, we installed night lights. If you got small kids, they like to have a night light on, so there's a small little night light in there you can leave on, lights up the dormer, gives you a little bit of ambient light, and that really rounds off the top floor in the house. As you go from that main entrance level down, you reach the level where the home theater is. That's a really fantastic space, and that used to be the family room in the house. I took that and I changed it to the theater space. Now, the floor in that whole level used to be about 8 inches lower. We raised it. There's a couple of reasons why I raised it. First reason was the theater. I wanted 2-tier seating, so raising that up allowed me another level in the theater that I could put seats offset, and you could have people in there being able to see over top of each other. I wanted a theater that was classic and elegant. I didn't want it ornate and gaudy and typical. But there's a lot of important elements in that room. The design elements are what you see in the way of trim, in the way of the fabric panels, the way the side nib walls come in, where the curtains hide in behind. Those are all design elements. They don't affect the functionality of the space. There's nice Colford ceilings above, 2 areas. One has a little bit of rope lighting behind, the other one doesn't. It really sets the mood for a space that can function well if it's designed well. On the back wall, we've got cabinetry. And when you think, what do you need in a theater room like that? Obviously, a fridge is important. I wanted 2 fridges to create some symmetry. So we've got 2 GE fridges in there. And they're drink fridges, wine fridges. You can put everything in there that you want. Beyond that, you've got a microwave. You've got a sink with a gorgeous Brizo low-key faucet. And the countertop in there, again, Cambria Quartz, some of their newest colors, which are just stunning. And on the wall above, we created these small niches, and that's, that's just an inspiration wall for the whole room. We've got pictures of just classic actors and actresses in there, and I love it. I love the way it's come together. There's little LED pin lights in there. It's a beautiful backdrop to the whole room. I went with 2 sofas in there rather than theater seating. I truly believe it's a family space. If I were to use it myself, I'd want to just jump into that couch, have my kids pile in beside me, and watch a movie. The systems in there are what make it function well. So we've got a 7.1 surround sound system. The effects are out of this world. We've got a gorgeous Epson projector. And that's one of the sore points with me, is coming into a room like that and seeing this big box on the ceiling. So I concealed it in the bulkhead. You can't see it. You can't even see the light coming from it. And it just projects onto this vibrant screen, and the imagery is just out of this world. So the effect is phenomenal. The sound system is amazing. We did a very beautiful, elegant carpet throughout. It sets the tone in the entire space. And then the rest is all about color. We used color to create the mood. We used fabric to create the mood. We've got a couple of nib walls that come in on either side, and they were there as part of the overall design, and also to hide the curtains that would pull back and hide behind them. And they too run effortlessly and quietly, so there's not a lot of clutter and noise in there. And then when it comes to containing all that noise, we use several systems inside the room to do that. So we've got insulation, sound absorbing insulation in the walls, and then we used a heavy rubber mass deadening membrane on the inside to kind of capture and retain all the bass in the space. So it really contains a lot of the sound inside there. The last few spaces in that basement area are, well, one is a storage space, and it's designed simply for storage and practical uses such as crafts and wrapping gifts and things like that. There's some cabinetry in there. In the middle is a section that rolls out on wheels that you can put in the middle and do crafts on there if you want. The HRV unit is there. There's access to some of the systems in there. And that area is lowered. That was another reason why we raised that basement area, because I wanted the service areas lower. All of them are waterproofed. In that area there's a rubber floor. And if there's any water leaks, it's going to be in those service areas, and then it's contained and it's not damaging the rest of the house. The other service area is the furnace room. The furnace room is right beside the storage room. Again, it's lowered as well. It's all tiled right underneath the furnace, right up with a tile baseboard, so it's waterproof. There's a drain in the area, and then you've got all the systems in the house. You've got a super high efficiency furnace that's zoned into 3 zones. You've got a super high efficiency hot water tank. In conjunction to that hot water tank, I designed all the drains from the house to come down one drain. So all the shower water that's coming down those drains, that's hot water being wasted, runs down those drains, and there's a heat recovery system that draws the heat out of that water, drops it back into the hot water tank. Again, it's no thinking about energy conservation. It's being done for you. That yields upwards of 30% in hot water heating savings. So a lot of nice systems like that. As far as the heating system, what's important to me is a good filter. We've got a UV light sanitizing system on there that kills airborne bacteria and viruses. And lastly is humidification. Again, nobody gives it enough thought. And the general systems that people put on are not adequate for houses that are over 3,000 square feet. So in here, we went with a steam humidifier. It generates steam, dumps it into the air duct, into the airstream, and humidifies the air very effectively. So you get nice, comfortable air, and you get nice, consistent humidity throughout the house, which makes the furniture last. It makes it easier to live in. It's healthier to live in. And the rest of the systems in there are all the gas lines and water lines, and they're all laid out nicely, labeled nicely, so there's no guesswork as to what's for what. The last room is a room adjacent to that, and that's a small storage room that I call a safe room slash server room. That's where the brains of the house are. That's where the home theater system is. That's where the home server is. And we designed that room to be a storage room as well as a safe room. When I say safe room, it's got a metal door. It's got a heavy-duty jamb on it. There's a panic button inside there that's connected to the alarm system. And there's monitors that you can watch all the cameras in the house. And there's going to be a telephone. So if someone is here alone and there's any concern at all, it's always nice to be able to have somewhere to go. And I know I say that because I have kids and they're at home, and sometimes they get scared, and it's great for them to have a place that they know they can go there and call their parents. Sometimes housewives are home alone when their husbands travel a lot, and they like the comfort of knowing they have that security. And the security system that we put in enhances that as well. Every door, every window has contacts on it. But beyond that, we've got glass break contacts. The garage door has contacts on it, so you'll know if you left the garage door open at night just by looking at the panel. We've got several types of carbon monoxide and smoke detectors. Ones that are required by code, which are on line voltage, 110 volts, but we've also put ones that are connected to the alarm system. Those monitor for smoke and for carbon monoxide. Reason for that is carbon monoxide, if there were ever a leak, puts you into a deeper sleep, and you may not hear the alarm, but you know that the alarm company knows the alarm is there and they'd send someone to help. So this house has been designed for practical living, for family living, for everyday concerns. So we've taken a look at every room inside and outside and thought about how can we make it better, and we've made those changes and we've made it better. Outside of the door to the theater, there's a bathroom. That bathroom was there from day one, although not looking the way it did, not laid out the way it is, but I thought it's important to keep a bathroom on that level. That bathroom serves the gym as one thing, and I wanted to make it a very simple, no maintenance, no headache bathroom. We've got a floating countertop. The countertop again is Quartz. It's Marana. That's the color. It's got a bit of gray to it. It's got a bit of reflective silver to it, little mirror chips. It's a little funky, and that's why I wanted to bring a little bit of edginess into this house. So we've got porcelain tiles on the floor, a nice classic detail with floating mirror and pendants hanging on either side. And the shower is designed so that it doesn't need a door or a curtain. I didn't want things that you'd have to clean and take care of. So you simply step up and step down into the shower. We've got a beautiful tile, ceramic tile on the wall with a retro pattern on it, and it's a gorgeous shower. Great for that theater as far as a bathroom goes. The toilet's there, the sink's there, but the shower serves another important room in the house, and that's the gym, which is the next level down. So as you go down the last flight of stairs, and I would call that the sub-basement, there's two beautiful rooms down there. One is the gym, and the gym is designed to be as close to a commercial space as possible. I wanted a room that you'd want to go into and exercise in. Some of the design elements that do that, the color, very bright. The lighting, very important. There's some really cool xenine lighting all over the ceiling. They're like little fingers that point in different directions. There's strip lighting in the bulkheads. The mirrors are floating. There's some crown molding installed all the way around, so these mirrors literally float within that space. And there's 3 panels of those mirrors, and the center mirror panel has a TV mounted right from behind. The flooring in the gym is vinyl tiles. Below that is a subfloor. It's a dry core subfloor that gives you a nice separation from the concrete underneath. Prevents any moisture from coming through. And that vinyl floor is a tile floor that looks great and gives you a nice durable finish for the gym. So now you've got mirrors that you can exercise in. You've got a TV in there. The sound comes through the speakers. You've got a dumbbell rack. You've got some equipment that I picked myself. I mean, I'm in the gym all the time. I know as far as equipment goes, I understand exercise, I understand keeping in shape, and it's an important part of my life. And it should be an important part of everybody's life, and it really is today. Everybody's conscious of that. So I selected equipment that gives you a well-rounded workout. So there's a all-in-one fitness unit there. We've got a spin bike, which is an excellent form of exercise. We've got dumbbells, and we've got a vibration unit that really isolates your muscles and enhances your workouts. So this vibration unit is the latest, and it's an amazing piece of equipment to use. So altogether, you've got a room that you can go into in half hour, 45 minutes, get an amazing workout, and come out refreshed. As you walk out, you walk through these beautiful glass doors that bring you back into that lower landing foyer. And these glass doors, where you typically see them as shower doors, they're nothing like a shower door. And I didn't want them to be a shower door because that's not a shower. These glass doors are the access to the gym. They're the access to the other room, which is the wine cellar. So the hinges are beautiful hinges from Italy. And they're hydraulic. They close by themselves. There's no springs creaking or anything like that. And the second set of glass doors that you walk into takes you into this gorgeous wine cellar. And I didn't want to create a wine cellar that, again, was typical. Most often I see wine cellars that are rustic and cave-like. That's not what this house is about. That's not what I'm about. I wanted something a little more edgy, something different. So I created a wine cellar with a lot of character to it. There's a lot of modern elements to it, so that lower level has a lot of contemporary modern elements to it. We've got 2 walnut panels on either side as you walk in. There's stainless steel rods that come out of those. Those hold bottles of wine facing towards you. And then wrapping all around, you've got walnut cabinetry with all kinds of different kinds of storage with stainless steel detail throughout. And then we've got a split refrigeration unit that the cooling unit is inside the wine cellar, but the AC unit is in the garage in the loft. And now you have a split system that functions well. You've got a split system that doesn't take up a lot of room in the wine cellar. You've got a wine cellar that anybody would be proud to show off. Speaking of the garage, that's the other space that is really come together nicely, and I keep saying that, but that's what I think of the whole house. It's just come together so well. The garage is a space that most people just completely forget about, and it just should not be. You've got 400 or 500 square feet of space there that is so valuable if it's designed well. And the one thing that prevents you from designing a good garage is garbage. And when there's garbage in a garage, it's a nasty place. So the first thing I did is I created a closet for the garbage to sit in. 2 large bins in that closet, the door closes and it's not visible. So then at that point, what do you do to make it nice? We tiled the floor. Beautiful porcelain tile with a nice pattern on the floor. Thought of every detail. Put expansion joints in the ground, in the floor, so that you don't have any issues with cracking. We used a Schluter-Dietrich system to prevent any cracks from developing in the slab. And that sets the base in the whole space. The walls around are all paneled with wainscoting with stainless steel detail. A little bit automotive, a little bit classic, but it's a nice backdrop. We've got a workbench with lots of storage inside, slot wall in behind, and there's a countertop in there, again a Quartz product, which very low maintenance, and then you've got a sink with a Brizo touch faucet. So if your hands are dirty, all you simply do is come up, touch the faucet, and it turns on, and you wash your hands. It's a great place to get cleaned up before you go into the house and mess up the sinks inside. There is a TV in there. Because the TV in this house, again, is an access point to the internet, to the server, to your friends, to everything. So there is an access point there, and there's speakers in the room as well. So you can have music, you can watch TV, you can go online and look at DIY projects and do them in there. And there's lots of room for 2 vehicles. Some of the other elements that make that space useful are the fact that I took advantage of the added ceiling height and created a storage mezzanine with beautiful sliding doors. That gets all the clutter out of the way. We did a garage door that has a jack shaft opener which mounts to the side. There's no track in the middle, so when it's closed, the ceiling is nice and clean. Operates very well, nice and smoothly. There is a rough-in charging station for an electric car, not just because we're wishful, but because that's reality today. Tomorrow, in the near future, or now, let alone tomorrow, now they're available, but tomorrow a lot of people are going to have them. And how are you going to get wire and charging station into a garage after the house is built? So we put a conduit, we roughed in for one, that if anybody owns an electric car or wants to buy one, they can easily accommodate that. Lighting was thought about. The central vac unit is nicely placed in there with a separate outlet in there for you to use for your vehicles. And there's also a hot and cold water faucet close to the front of the garage for washing the dog outside or washing your car outside, doesn't matter. And then there's a nice cubby hole for the recycling bins right by the door. So all you have to do is just swing the door open, the bins are right there, and you can throw your stuff in. The last element that makes that room really interesting is the access to the house from there. And there's no fumbling with keys once you drive into that garage. You walk up to the door, you put your finger on a panel, it recognizes your finger, and the biometrics panel opens the door for you. When you're doing a house like this, there's no rushing it. It takes time. I tell people it took me 14 months to do this house, and they said, geez, I could have made a house in 8 months. Yes, you can build a house in 8 months. You can build a house in 6 months. To build a house with a lot of perfection to it, a lot of design, a lot of planning, and thinking out every detail takes time. So it took us 14 months. We thought of every detail. We touched on every finishing element. I'm really proud of the way it's turned out, right down to the window coverings, all the little details, the finishing details, the furnishings. And I think when you walk through and you start to notice all those details, you'll realize how much heart and soul went into building this house. And that's the kind of passion we like to put into every project we do. It's easy to have that temptation to cut corners and cut back. The tough thing is to fight that temptation and say, no, we're not going to cut back. We're going to do it right, right down to the last detail. And that's what this house is all about.
Silver House.